Oh, it's working. Oh, working. Okay. Okay. If you're there, please let me know that you're there. Oh, good morning, Rob. Welcome. I was getting worried about you, Rob. I am going to go straight into it. I think I'm just going to get started. Okay. If you're there, please let me know that you're there. Oh, good morning, Rob. Welcome. I was getting worried about you, Rob. I am going to go. This one time we're going to try to work out how to do this, Rob. 1 second. It's a little. Okay. Keith, good morning. Nice to see you. Great. So Keith, we're with you. And I'm trying to make this happen. Okay. Okay. Almost ready, guys? Okay. I'm going to be sharing my screen. So let me see. Is everybody there? Okay. Elaine is there. We're kind of getting warmed up. I'm going to get started right away. So today is 11th day of Tammuz. Hope everybody can see me. Just check the WhatsApp, make sure everybody's on. Okay. Today's the 11th day of Tammuz. We're going to start off with Ayom Yom. It goes as follows. In the Tanya edition published in Zolkavi, the Tanya that was published in Zolkavi in the year Mevasar Tov, which was 1799. Mevasar Tov, it means herald of good. It is a numerical value of 5559, which is the Hebrew date. In that Tanya edition, the first version of Igeres HaTshuva was printed, the letter of return. It was not divided into chapters, and there are variances from the present text in content. So basically, the third section of Tanya, which is the letter of return of Teshuvah, was published for the first time in 1799. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go straight into the Rebbe's video right now. So stay tuned. Okay. Can you see the video of the Rebbe? There we go. Okay, it looks like you can. I'm going to start right away. So let's go straight into this. Can you hear? Can you hear the video?
Steht in Seher, aber das kann jeder, guckt dann nicht wenig. אז ישנה 6 מייס לילף השישי, is auch dermot is werden geöffnet werden Majones und heim Rabo, als it nicht Rabbe werden Chochme Boelom, und der Seher Redder befehligt nie Dafke wegen Chochme von Tera Velikus, nos redt sich wegen Chochme Stam.
1963, we were actually at that time starting to look for life on Mars. And the Rebbe was terribly interested in that. On our very first meeting, I said, you know, there are those, and I used the words, there are those of your followers who say that a Jew should not be working in the space biology program, the exobiology program, because it goes contrary to Torah. The Rebbe stopped, one of those beautiful moments in time. He didn't smile. And he just thought. And then he came back with this and he said as follows, exactly the way I'm doing it. He pointed at me. He was saying this in Yiddish. You should look for life on Mars. You should keep looking for life on Mars. And if you don't find it, keep looking elsewhere. And elsewhere. Keep looking. Because to sit here in this world and you say there is no life elsewhere is to put a limit around what God can do. And that nobody can do. The Rebbe didn't say there was life on Mars. The Rebbe just said that the job of a scientist who is trained in that profession is to keep looking for it.
Mit dort gleich Messiah, mit was wird das losen, als alle werden anerkennen, die Minion von Beheusel als Shem Amlucho, der Minion von Havaya Chod und Shmeya Chod. Das heißt, Aleke das hat Tee. Als Chochmes Chitzenis bringen Reis auf Heber von Gedusche, nor Adra bewos Merer, me weiß das Lamitosom, als Merer kommt der Hecher. Als ist Echot Bohoretz, hat die ganze Welt durchgenommen geworden, mit Ainische Lachdus.
The Rebbe had written a famous letter on evolution. So once in one of our discussions that I had with my shifta, already close to my shifta, I had a negative approach to it. I thought it was a little, it wasn't adequate. It was too thin. It was too threadbare. And I told that to my shifta. It's not a great letter. Why don't you write the Rebbe and tell him that? He said, well, I'm not going to write to the Rebbe. You know, I saw the Rebbe. I consider him to be the Navi of our people. Before anything else, he's a Navi. I'm going to write him. He'd like to hear from you. Dear Rabbi Schneerson, I saw this and this, and I have the following criticism to make about it. It was comment to make. The Rebbe answered, but he never turned to the questions that I wrote in this particular letter. So I wrote back another letter. You didn't answer the question originally, which means, obviously, that you agree with my point of view. There's one letter that the Rebbe writes in which he says, essentially, it is not my job to win arguments. My job is to prevent the Jewish point of view and win adherence to the Jewish cause. And if I were to take issue with you on that letter, I might have pushed you away. But now that I see that you and your wife, I will return. And he goes ahead and answers the letter with a reasonable explanation. But I saw something extremely important in that letter. The Rebbe is demanding from scientists to teach science properly. In other words, to keep science from becoming a dogma. Science is a subject that must deal with probabilities rather than absolutes. He told me he studied mathematics in Berlin, and he studied engineering in Paris. And he said that his only desire in his debates with other scientists was to be honest, to present the point of view. And even with regard to the concept of the motions of the stars and the motions of the solar system and so forth, that to be honest, you must teach that prior to the Copernican theory, there was a Ptolemaic theory. After the Copernican theory, there'll be another theory, maybe a better. We're always trying to get closer to the truth. So this attracted me very, very much to it.
Da a Sach, was sein in den größten Spoilers von die Entdeckungen, was da in Chochmis Chizene ist, Bishonim Achrein. Was Biklolis, was das Song geheben in die letzte etliche 10 Jahr. Und das a Sach, was 10 Chodesh Tachas HaShemesh.
The Rebbe was once talking about what is a black hole. Black hole was once a sun. It was once a body in heaven that was burning like our sun, hydrogen, burning and providing light and heat excessively. And then over time, the fire went out, and then the mass collapsed on itself. And now the mass, it becomes very, very dense, very, very heavy. And it's so collapsed on itself that no light is emitted, and light that passes through it is retained. The Rebbe once referred to Jewish college professors as a black hole. At one time, they could have been light. They could have been a source of light and illumination, but they've collapsed on themselves to such an extent that not only do they not give any light, but any light that goes through them is absorbed.
Wo der Fund kommt man a Reis zu der Kennen, in was sie der Inje se darf sein, die Milchomo bei der Reinu se. Und das ist a Dor, was mir hat ihm gegeben, als eine Möglichkeiten, was noch keinmal nicht gewähnt, und bei Veneseino Harabi. Und noch mehr, Lezar Hachigodel, nichts mit den Möglichkeiten legamre nicht ist.
He said, did Rabbi Feller ever tell me what the Baal Shem Tov meant by Hashgacha Pratis, or divine providence? So I said, yes. Now the principle of divine providence that the Baal Shem Tov taught, that everything that a Jew sees and hears is not by accident, it's not random, but is designed by heaven itself to bring you closer to Torah and to God. If this is true for everybody, how much more true for a person who works in a field like exploration of the stratosphere and traveling all over the world and meeting so many people? He said, you must have a wealth of stories and anecdotes and events and impressions, each one of them which has a special hashgacha pratis. Keep a journal, keep a record of these stories and events, and then try and analyze to see what is the hashgacha pratis, what is the lesson you learn from these things. And if you can't do it by yourself, come and bring them to me, and I'll work with you.
This production is made possible through the generosity of the members of the GEM Foundation.
Weil sie kommen sagen, wo Häusel Hawaii am Luch, als eine sichere Sache, als Menschen werden normale sein, darf Kidam sehr Aufgabe, wie der Eberster hat gewollt. Und sie wird sich durchführen, dem Ebersten Slotzen, als sie sein. A Welt, wo sie ist genuni, was verschafft vergnügen dem Ebersten, setzt man zusammen wie Koomur Liil, als sie geworden, der Zusammenstehst und die Snagrus von 2 Blocken, was auf sie teilt die ganze Welt, darf in die Schone Machiach Reine ist, zusammen damit ist Chadisch geworden, darf in Schone Machiach Reine ist, weil sie von Akamus Achik-Tana kommen Ufton, Adover Achik-Godel und Achik-Mavil. Amit Akamus Achik-Tana, ובלושן העולם, mit Atem, בשעס mit das nur Eisnutzen, leide Keches und leide Seichel, wo der Eberster hat gegeben und Eisnutzen das, in der gute Richtung kommen mit der kleinen Kamus Mamos. Ufton a Shinoi, wo der Shinoi soll der Griechen berege kememre, bechol ha'elam kule, wo das nicht gewähren in die friedige Deris, nicht gewähren die ganze Möglichkeit bis Galus. In Tewe das gelegen behalten, nege Dämmel. Aber zu Menschen, das nicht Galle geworden, wie gesagt, früher. Als in die Talking Sachen Weltle Batolo, Kolsmann hat nicht gedacht, verrempfen. Oder dem Mami, du machst hat nicht gedacht, mit Galle sein, dem Telt. Ist geworden, der Mami, du machst. Also vieles sein nahe Gott in Negbo. Darf nicht haben, darf Kasami, was hat unter sich, eine große Armee. Oder Onnachil Laboratories wie Kajetsibase. Kann sein, nahe Gott in Bekamus. Eben nur, hat aber dem Seichel, wie sie darf zu sein, und Nutzern, wie sie darf zu sein. Mit dem Quetschen, Verboten, Knäppel, kann aufmachen, am Pechel, Tevo, bechol hoelam kule Mamos. Wir kommen hier, wie man sagt, es Davke, in den letzten Jahren und in den letzten Gedoschen, als sie kann sein, nahe Gott in Bepashtus. Und beschaß wird zupassen und wissen, welchen Knäppel mit Dafa quetscht. Und was sie quetscht, konnte Mischane sein, Kolo, Elom, Kule, als sie soll sich fühlen, wie der Rebischter will, mit Zedek, wie Jesche, mehr nicht, kadei soll sein, der Ringen Abschire, hat mir nicht gelassen. Die Möglichkeit, als er können sein, Rachman al-Islam, die Pchire beheben. Und neben das Sisa See, und man hat mehr, öfter wird das so ein nicht normaler Mensch. Ein nicht normaler vom Standpunkt von Göttlichkeit, ein nicht normal vom Standpunkt von der Shevis Torah. Allahs kamen wie kamen, hat der Beile Elam und Manhige, hat das hereingegeben in die Welt, aber man soll das können nutzen, in der gute Richtung, Maschenke, wie bald das darf sein, und Bacharto Bachai. Der Rebischter will, als ein Mensch soll beweisen, als ist ein Baal Seichel, und kleibt sich in Zedek wie Jesche, der Fall, was versteht, dass Chai. Nie der Fall, was hat kein Brede nicht. Bei mir gibt mir nicht ein Brede. No sati lefonech, es a Chai, es a Tei. Und nicht dem Heter. Und der Ewigste Matzia und gibt Kechis. Und gibt allein Seichel und Bett. Bei jedem, soll sich in Ruf Beinen sein. Und nicht nutzen, die Kirches, was man dem gegeben, in den Zeit von Chai-Vitei, wo das in der Linie abschiebe. Wo das verantwortet die Scheide, was kann ein Mensch schuften. Und was sie können, ruft dann mit den Meisse. In Asami Neffen, was bringen die Schuhe, was soll, zu der ganzen Welt, sagt nem, der was quetscht an dem Knäppel, ist nicht mechuyiv sein der größeren Blume und verstehen, was sie der Atem arbeitet und was sie durch den Knäppel wird das ankommen zu sehen, Kolo Elam Kule, das was wird von dem verlangt, die mehr nicht, der meiste Pschuto, soll anquetschen, den passigen Knäppel in der passigen Zeit, und dann das wie mit Dardester. Und hat damals nicht geht, der mir dort der nicht mal wie Novi nun verstehen. Man darf mehr nicht haben, soll haben dem Neisse, und das ist der Klau, was riesiger geworden ist, als Mattenteiro von der ganzen Welt. Aber ich habe Kunst an Anweisung von dem Ebersten. Darf sein, nach Domas Neisse bin ich mal, und als jechet bepasst ist, wie kommen in täglichen Leben, und jeder weiß davon, sie versteht ja sie nicht, darf gar nicht ankommen zu Kirche Muna, als kann das durchführen, Bishad der Rebischte, alle die Schluche, wo es nur sein Teile, wie Kajitze Base, wird zuführen zu dem passigen Knäppel und zuführen in der richtigen Zeit und sagen, was darf quetschen, oder dämmelt wird sein, oder was wird durchführen, Beteil, bringe Yeshuva, Zolle, Lecholo, Elam, Kuli, Mamosh, Bechol, Dalit, Katzvi, Elam. Got it.
With materials from the Living Archive, established by the Rohr Family Foundation. Video collection preserved by Benjamin Federman.
Okay, friends. So I would love to hear your comments or questions on that video presentation. In the meanwhile, I'd like to share with you some of my thoughts and comments as well. For starters, the person that was talking there was Velvel Green. He was a professor in Minnesota. I believe he's still alive. And the way that he got connected to the Rebbe was very interesting. That the Chabad rabbi of Minnesota, his name is Rabbi Moshe Feller, he was trying for a number of years to reach this Jewish professor, a very well-respected professor over there in the University of Minnesota. And when he finally got an appointment, the rabbi came. It was very nice. He got an appointment. In the middle of this very important meeting, the rabbi suddenly gets up and he starts talking to the wall. He literally starts talking to the wall. The professor thought he had lost his mind. Nobody comes to meet with him and then turns his back on him. The professor was just stunned. It turned out the guy was davening. The sun was setting. Maybe the rabbi suddenly realized that he forgot to daven mincha, the afternoon service. He literally got up, he faced the wall, and he davened. The professor was first angry, but then he soon realized that this rabbi has values that are greater than him, that he actually believes in God. And that sparked a profound conversation and a deep relationship that ultimately led to this extraordinary connection with the Rebbe, where Professor Velvel Green became, as you could see in the video, he became a fully observant Jew. All began with the mincha, the afternoon service that happened in his office when the rabbi had the chutzpah to get up in the middle of the meeting and to just talk to God. But what was the core of the conversation, the teaching that the Rebbe was giving, was something so incredibly profound. I'm not sure if you saw the video I taught last night. Paradigm shift, when we spoke about the redefinition of Torah, where we realigned the paradigm of Torah from something which is an extra superimposed, an extra set of laws superimposed on the laws of this world. We redefine Torah as the blueprint of creation, quoting from the Zohar that the Torah is the blueprint through which God creates the world. And therefore, there is no possibility for there ever to be a conflict between Torah and the world. It's only people that don't understand Torah or people that don't understand science that think that there's a conflict between the two of them. But in reality, Torah properly understood and science properly understood has no conflict. And it was so interesting to see how the Rebbe explained that when he encouraged the exploration of life on Mars. Not because the Rebbe believed that there was life on Mars, but because the Rebbe was trying to bring out the point that science is constantly searching. The moment that science becomes dogma, science has lost its way. By definition, science is explorative and not absolute. So whenever somebody gets up and tells you, science has proven that, science has proven that humans come from monkeys, science has proven that there is no God, science has proven that, whatever they come to conclude, that is expressive of a fundamental misunderstanding of what science is. Science is the constant exploration of knowledge. That's what science is. And you'll never actually reach the end of that. The moment you start to speak of science within absolute terms, you've fundamentally misunderstood science. And that's why the Rebbe very much encouraged the exploration of life on Mars, because the Rebbe was trying to bring out this point that science is constantly seeking for more. It was the Rebbe's fundamental approach and understanding that the Torah is the essence of the universe, that the Torah is the code and the blueprint of the universe, that allowed the Rebbe's extraordinary perception of the correlation between Torah and science, and how there can inherently be no conflict between the two of them. Remember, the Rebbe was a great scientist. He studied at the Sorbonne University and Humboldt University, I believe it was in Germany. He was a nuclear physicist or something. I'm not sure exactly what the Rebbe did, but he studied this stuff and he was very well versed in it. You'll see in the Rebbe's letters and teachings that the Rebbe was very, very clear and interested in the teachings and the exploration of science and nuclear technology. And that's a very important point for us to realize, that there is no conflict between Torah and science. Science is essentially the exploration of more. And if you think that there's a conflict between Torah and science, all that means is that you don't understand what science is really all about. Okay, so that is the first point that I wanted to bring out here today. Let me see if there's any comments. Oh, I see comments coming in on YouTube. I'm sorry, I must have missed them. So I'm going to go to the YouTube comments right now. I'm sorry again about Facebook. It just wasn't working. It wasn't loading the page. So we're stuck on. We're going to be sticking to YouTube today. Okay. So Rob says loud and clear. Very good. Andy, technology and talent. Last 2 points covered in last night's JLI talk. Beautiful. Exactly. Great. The East travels around the sun. I think Marty. The Earth. The Earth travels around the sun, exactly. So that's what Torah says. Science says that the Earth travels around the sun. Torah says that the sun travels around the Earth. Is that a conflict? Do you think that's a conflict? The answer is it cannot possibly be a conflict. And the reason why it cannot possibly be a conflict is because science can't prove anything. Science can probe and explore, but science cannot prove. So for example, if you're on a train and another train comes zooming by you, you know that sensation where you can never know if you're the one that's moving or they're the one that's moving? That's what's happening when you're on the Earth and both Earth and sun are moving, at least around their own axis. It's impossible to prove which one is moving around which. So you can't ever say that science has proven that the Earth goes around the sun or that the sun goes around the Earth. It is something which is constantly under further exploration, right? And certainly we know that at this point, we've not come to any conclusions about that. So for anybody to posit that the Torah is in conflict with science because of the Earth traveling around the sun or vice versa, exhibits a fundamental misunderstanding of science. It's a pseudo-science or a pseudo-Torah. And it's the fundamental approach. What Andy's saying is the blueprint approach, the second approach in JLI, which is the fact that Torah is the blueprints of creation, which gives us the fundamental understanding that the Torah and science can never be in conflict. The Torah is the code which creates science. Okay, Andy, Torah does not say that the sun goes around the earth. Andy, I beg to differ. Maimonides does say that the sun goes around the earth, that the earth is the center of existence. Okay, Marty, except now we have people in space stations which can't observe the earth moving around the sun. No, Marty, you don't understand. Do you think that the people in the space station are stationary? They're not stationary. They're also in orbit. That's exactly the point. We're all in motion. That is that's the basis of the solar system. We're all moving around everything else, right? Everything's moving at least on its own axis. So therefore, even the people in the space station are in orbit around the earth. Right? Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs not a problem, Rob. Come on. Why is dinosaurs not a problem? Let me tell you about dinosaurs. So the thing about dinosaurs is that, what's the problem with dinosaurs? Tell me. I'm just trying to understand what's the problem. How could dinosaurs be a conflict from Torah? I see you retracted the message. Okay, so if you're retracted, I'll just answer it in brief. There is no conflict of saying that there were dinosaurs. Marty, you're suggesting make-believe fossils. You don't have to say make-believe fossils. Could it be that there were animals that never made it into the ark of Noah's Ark? We know that not all animals were allowed into Noah's Ark. In fact, the animals that were not faithful to their breed, the animals that were mongrels, that slept with other species, those were not allowed into the ark. So what happens when you have a mammoth mating with with a condor? Maybe that becomes some sort of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I don't know. Point is that there's two answers, which I can quickly give you here. Number one is that we know that humans lived much longer before Noah's Ark, and we know that humans were much taller and larger before Noah's Ark. Therefore, the animals were also living longer and also greater, larger size. So I don't see any conflict in saying that there were dinosaurs before the flood of Noah and that they all died in the flood of Noah and they weren't allowed into the ark. Another explanation is that another answer about dinosaurs is that very possibly God created the world with fossils in the earth already from the first day of creation. Just like God created the world with light already arriving on the earth, even though it takes time for light to travel to the earth. But Adam and Eve, on the first day that they were created, were able to see the stars in the sky. So the light was pre-traveled. Just like the trees already had rings on the day that they were created. Just like Adam and Eve were 20 years old the day that they were created. So too, the earth wasn't a new earth. The earth was created aged. It was an old earth, right? Quick example, when you watch a movie. What movie? Let's say you watch a movie, I can't think of a movie. Let's say Macbeth, okay? So let's say you're watching the movie or reading the book of Macbeth. So Macbeth is, let's say, 2 months old because the author or the producer just produced it a year ago. But when you look at Macbeth, he's really 60 years old in the movie. How could that be? Because he was created pre-aged. He was created at the age of 60. So too, if the producers of Hollywood or Shakespeare can create a character that's already pre-aged, then you don't have a problem with that. Then why would you have a problem with God creating a world which was already pre-aged, which already had dinosaur fossils in it? And to your question, Robert, that dinosaurs age Earth more than 5,000 years, that's not a problem either, based upon what I just said, because God created the world with a history already. Adam and Eve were already 20 years old. The trees already had rings. The light of the stars already had arrived on Earth. And therefore, the Earth already had fossil fuel. So the scientists will tell you that for dead animals and plants to become fossil fuel will take 6 million years or 600 million years. Okay, so God created the world with diamonds in the ground, and already there was carbon, and already there was fossil fuel. It was ready to go. So that's why there's no conflict when you study Torah properly and you study science properly. Andy, relative motion or Einstein's theory of revolution are for a face-to-face discussion. Okay, fair point over there, Andy. I don't mind your pointing that out then. Okay. Okay, good. So back to my points on the review of the video. The fundamental principle is based on what we learned last night, and the Rebbe quoted it very briefly in the video here, when he said that the Zohar states that the world is based upon the blueprint of the Torah. Therefore, fundamentally, the Torah cannot be in conflict with the world. Okay? It's the blueprint approach. It was interesting what the Rebbe said about college professors, that they're a black hole. They suck up all the energy and they don't let anything out. They don't let out any light. The college professors, I'm not sure if the Rebbe said Jewish college professors or college professors in general. But what's interesting is that the Rebbe was saying that these college professors have the capacity to be able to bring enlightenment to the world by teaching God and science together. But for some reason, they come in with an agenda. I don't understand what happens to people when they go to college. It's like they become narrow-minded and they all have to subscribe to the same values. They all have to believe in the same things and spew the same theories. It's unbelievable. You'd think that the universities are places of open-minded thinking. But in reality, it seems like the vast majority of professors seem to be promoting the same exact agenda, like it's a narrow-minded, tunnel in there. So it's interesting that the Rebbe picked up on that, and he said that they're like a black hole, where they could have used their positions and their influence to bring enlightenment to the world, to teach the world about God and the Torah and science together. But unfortunately, they end up denying God, like they've got some sort of axe to grind. They're promoting their own opinion as opposed to the fact, when they're using science as some sort of a baseball bat or like a baseball bat with which to club us over the head, instead of using science as what it's supposed to be, is a probe, an exploratory probe, which says we don't know the answers, but we're working on it and we're open to new ideas. That's what science should be saying. Instead, they're saying science has already proven and science is absolute and it's a dogma. So Andy, I like the black hole analogy. They were once a source of light, but now they are the opposite. Exactly, a good point. Now, at the second half of the video presentation, the Rebbe brought up a very interesting point. They're speaking about the power of a tiny atom. The Rebbe was saying that it's in our lifetimes that we've seen the power of this tiny atom, which has the tremendous potential for good. I guess the Rebbe was talking about nuclear power plants and the ability to use a tiny atom to literally produce energy in the most unthinkable way. Yes, there are those crazy people that want to use the atom for evil, and it's inexplicable why they would want to do so. But the Rebbe does explain that the reason that the atom can be used for evil is only because of free choice. That's why God allowed the atom to be used for bad things as well. Fascinating, right? But the difference that one small person can make is extraordinary. The reference to the young boy who pushed the button is as follows. It's the difference that one small person can make. You don't need to be a nuclear physicist. You don't need to be an Albert Einstein in order to push the button. Today we know that if you just push the button, you just get a little kid to push the button and he can, produce energy for millions and millions of homes. Today, we live at a time of extraordinary potential where you can make a positive impact on the world, even if you're not an Einstein, and even if you're not the wealthiest person or the most experienced person. I mean, literally, you can open up a YouTube or a Facebook and promote a live Torah study to thousands of people by just using your own laptop. It's unbelievable the power that we wield today. And the Rebbe didn't say this point, but I believe it's because we're so close to the Messianic era, to the arrival of Mashiach, which is the time when the world comes to its ultimate purpose. When Mashiach comes, we will have fulfilled the purpose of creation, which is the divine revelation, divine consciousness and awareness. Since we're so close to the fulfillment of the world's creation, that's the reason that we have such power at our fingertips, where we can literally tip the scales. When you're at the very, very end, when the scales are equally balanced and a tiny little feather will tip the scales, we're now at a point where the world can be tipped for the good by just one more mitzvah, one more good deed. It's that little boy pushing the button who doesn't understand much, but he's got the power of action. We too can do one more mitzvah, one more tefillin, one more mezuzah, one more Shabbos, one more kosher, one more loving a fellow Jew, one more Torah study. When we do one more mitzvah, we can tip the scales of the universe from bad to good, or from equally balanced to good, to bring Mashiach. And that's what I think the Rebbe was talking about when he said the power of the nuclear energy that is available in our times. It's an extraordinary ability to influence the world for the good and tragically for the bad as well, only because of God's doctrine of anonymity, that he wants to allow us the freedom of choice. But without getting into the crazies, the ones that want to destroy the world through the power of nuclear energy, when we realize the extraordinary opportunity that we've been given, we realize that you can literally change the world with the push of a button. So too, each and every one of us, Marty, I see you talking about the president having a football. Yes, every president has the football, right? But guess what? Every one of us also has that football. And that's the key here. You have that football right now by you choosing to study Torah with me right now. You've pushed the button. By you choosing today to fill in today, to daven today, to say the Kaddish, to light the Shabbos candles, not to speak slander and lashon hara against someone else. But you're pushing the buttons, these tiny little buttons. You're not doing a PhD, and you're not doing calculus or relativity. But what you are doing is that you're doing a simple act, pushing of a button, which is influencing the world for the good. And just like that little button can cause tremendous change and impact in the world, so to your action is able to cause tremendous blessing to the world, ultimately the coming of Mashiach. So these are my thoughts and reflections, folks, on today's presentation. Do you have any questions? Any thoughts, any questions on the Rebbe's presentation over there about Torah and science? I hope that if you have any questions, please do post, but I hope it is abundantly clear that Torah and science are not in conflict. And that the Rebbe took great pains to study science in order to bring out this point. Anyone who ever tells you that there's a conflict between Torah and science has exhibited their own ignorance in understanding both Torah and science. So hopefully we can reset the button on that particular conversation, especially when we apply the blueprint model, which is last night's topic that we spoke about in the JLI, the idea of the Torah being the blueprint of creation, and by definition, the effect cannot conflict with its cause. Because if it does, it literally bites the hand that feeds it. It would literally cease to exist. So Keith, it seems like you insist on a face-to-face discussion. I hope I've been able to make myself clear. I hope that I'm not being too abstract, but we are dealing. We're going with the cards that we've been dealt, and this is the circumstance with which we're able to meet these days. So that's it. That's all. That's the wrap. And with that, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Rob, I'm glad that you approve. Yasher koach. Thank you. It's great to study with everybody. I will sign off over here. I'm going to wish everybody a good Shabbos. Thank you for joining me here this morning. And I wish everybody a wonderful day, a healthy day, a peaceful day, safe day. May we have a peaceful Shabbos. And I look forward to continuing our studies on Monday morning. All right. So with that, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom, over and out. And I'm not being abstract, just dogmatic. Ooh, maybe that's why. So what you need then is not a face-to-face. What you need is a farbrengen, Andy, in that case. A farbrengen is where we're able to really take apart the issues and over l'chaim, and to make sure that we can really get down to the core of the issues. In any event, God willing, we'll be able to do that one day soon. With that, I'm going to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining me this morning. Over and out. Have a great day.